Hi, welcome to the AnimeCons TV Year in Review for 2014. I'm Patrick Delahanty, and I'm here with the rest of the cast.
I think that's us guys.
Oh.
Oh, I'm allowed to
Hi,
speak
everyone.
now?
Hello.
Hi.
Introduce yourselves.
They all know who we are. It'd be really weird if this is the first episode they're watching.
Yeah, if this is somebody's first episode, wait till next week or go back and watch older ones.
Yeah, watch older ones.
Watch all of them.
Yes.
It's almost 100.
Binge watch. It's a new thing. Binge watch.
We have almost 150 episodes now.
What?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, once we went weekly.
Yep,
True.
that helps. So, guys, I know I went to a lot of conventions this year, especially after last year not going to quite as many. So I went to 12 of them, and 5 were new.
Wow, light
Well,
year for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I went to 10, which is a little low for me. I didn't go to any new ones, though.
And Doug?
I did, let me double check, like about 10. And a couple of those were new. I think like 2 or 3.
Yeah, you went to Vegas. That was
Yep.
at least one.
Yeah. More different styles of cons this year around.
We technically only went. We were only present for 5.
We went to 5, but we went to
We
Super.
attended 3.
No, we went to Super Mega Fest for the first time. I mean, we didn't really see much of the convention, but we actually went and saw the atmosphere and everything.
Cool. So, with
Married life in a house.
with so many conventions, there had to have been some favorite moments. But Rob and Shiva, what were your favorite moments?
Well, my favorite moment actually was driving down to Katsucon.
Oh, God.
Believe it or not, through that wizard, I was having fun.
You were the
This
only
one was
one
not.
having fun.
Elizabeth was not. I
had
was having fun.
totally forgotten about that when I was putting my list together. Oh my god.
So to explain, we went down in a blizzard. So I was driving in a blizzard. I don't know. I was
Well,
perfectly
we talked
fine.
a lot about it when we reviewed Katsucon, but
Yeah.
you had fun. I'm glad you had fun since you were the one driving the entire way.
Yep.
My favorite moment was we performed at Anime Boston for the first time in quite a
Forever.
few years, and we had a blast doing it, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad we did that.
And Elizabeth, how about you?
Well, Shiva mentioned one of mine, that was actually the first time I did the Masquerade Anime Boston, but I actually judged the Masquerade at Anime Next, and it wasn't a huge showing of groups, but the really cool thing is the grand prize we gave out was sewing machines, and we gave the group that won Best in Show, it was like 5 or 6 people, and they were all still kind of novice beginners, and giving them sewing machines and seeing them get so excited was like just awesome. So that was cool. And now I'm like, okay, maybe I'll compete at Anime next year if they're giving away sewing machines. Because mine is broken.
Again.
Again. It was never
That's
really...
That's what happens when you use it so much.
No, that's what happens when you knock it on the floor.
Wah wah.
You know. Anyway.
And Doug, how about you?
Mine was kind of simple this year. Was as always, I go to Artist Alley and I get my War Turtle doing something awesome commission, and I found an artist I really liked. And before we even got to the talk about the commission, we were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy and cosmic Marvel stuff. And he's just like, "Oh, so you know like Thanos and everything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know Thanos. I've made an Infinity Gauntlet." And it's like, "Oh, that's cool." And I showed him a picture of it. He's like, "So what can I do for you?" I'm like, "Well, I really want War Turtle doing something awesome." He's like, "I know just the thing." And I came back the next day, and he had drawn War Turtle with the Infinity Gauntlet. And it was just one of those things. Didn't ask for it, but it just turned out really cool, and it's one of my favorites. I haven't put it in my folio case. It's actually too big for that. So this might be the first War Turtle sketch I actually have to get framed.
That
Well.
is pretty awesome. And mine is kind of related to Guardians of the Galaxy, because
No, really?
Well, I mean, before Dragon Con, I made Dancing Baby Groot, And
I seen that on the internet.
That's totally fan myth.
That was you?
over a million
Over a million views.
over a
And not a
million.
cent to you.
And so everybody at Dragon Con was taking pictures of dancing baby Groot. And then I was walking through the Walk of Fame where they have all the stars, and Sean, or one of the guest handlers says, have the Guns seen that? No, not yet. And Sean Gunn's over here. Come on over. And drags me over. And so the Groot is dancing. Sean Gunn gets video of it. And then later on at a party that night, Ali Spagnol is performing, and I've got Groot dancing along. And somebody runs into the room and says, Patrick, come with me right now. And I go to the back of the room, and James Gunn is standing there in the party. I'm like, oh my god. And so he sees Groot. He's like, oh, yeah, I've seen that. Everybody's shown me that. That's awesome. And I said, would you mind getting a picture? And so we stepped outside the room, got a picture. And then everybody in the vicinity realized, oh, that's James Gunn. Can I get a picture too? So we kind of got mobbed. I was like, I'm so sorry. So yeah, meeting James Gunn and getting a picture of him and dancing baby Groot. That's my favorite moment of like all
Ever?
conventions ever.
All right, well, nothing else tops that. Let's all go home.
Yeah.
Although, you know, having Mary Bichner sing a song I wrote at PortCon, that's up there.
Up there, but not quite.
How about your least favorite convention moments? Does anybody have any?
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
All right, Doug, what's yours?
Mine was definitely going to have to be when I was walking around at Anime Expo this year and seeing, you know, the largest anime convention in the country have nothing but people just more or less sitting around because there was so little programming for them to go into. There wasn't much doing, and it was really kind of disheartening that it's like, here's so many people that are coming to this big event and they're bored because there's not a lot going on.
More ball pits.
No. No.
Elizabeth, anything from you?
Mine was my drive down to Anime Next because for some reason it took all day on Friday. I planned on getting there at like 1 and I didn't get there till 6, 7. And I like sat doing nothing trying to get over the George Washington Bridge for like 2 hours. And I missed the whole day of a con and it sucked, but oh well, what are you gonna do? But I think the worst part was I was by myself. So basically I was just sitting there listening to, I think, like the Nerdist podcast or something and wanting to, I don't know, I was losing my mind. At least I wasn't actually on the bridge at that point because I would have gone crazy. That was my least favorite moment. And if that's my least favorite moment, then I probably had a pretty good year for convention going. So.
And that's compared to driving down in a snowstorm.
I had forgotten about that.
That was my least favorite moment.
From my memory.
So,
Well, yours was driving
yeah,
down.
mine was driving down because honestly, it was so terrible. And I mean, luckily we weren't alone. Like Ellie Star was with us, Elizabeth was with us, and my friend Liz was with us. And so we had people, and we tried to make it fun. But when it got really dangerous, and we saw tractor trailer trucks jackknife, and we had to pull over, and I started crying, and then we almost ran out of gas, and then we couldn't get gas because to get gas we had to go through a snowbank, and I was just like, it took us 12 hours to get there, and I could have done without that whole thing. But whatever, we made it, and it was fine. But I did cry. So that was the worst.
But so I have all this fun going down there. I ended up contracting the con plague of the century that happened at Katsu, the unconfirmed H1N1 plague, and I ended up coming down on the first day headstrong into a flu and was pretty much incapacitated the entire weekend.
I also
Then I
caught
had to
it.
drive back.
Well, I also caught it, but I still think the drive down was worse. The flu sucked, though.
that sounds like a pretty bad weekend.
See, I'm still laughing about that snowstorm because I got delayed going to Otakon Vegas because of it, because of the one in January, and so many people are like, "Oh, you're not going to make it." And those same people went to KatsuCon some of them didn't get back. And I'm like, that's what you get for gloating.
So my least favorite moment, it's just one moment. It's the SnafuCon Masquerade skits. They did their walk on. Everybody walks on. They walk off. That was fine. And then they had a handful of skits. And with the exception of one, which I'll note is the one that won, they were all dancing to full songs.
Ooh, no. Edit,
Oh,
edit.
no.
God.
It was like 5 minutes for each of them. And they had gone through like 20 entries in less time than it took one of these skits to perform. It's like, and they were all, well, most of them were just one person. And it's like,
Oh.
Worst.
and yeah. So
I-
it's like, come on, we get the
That's a
point.
director fail right there.
Mhm.
The thing that I like to think of for skits is always leave them wanting more.
Mm-hmm.
Went way past that.
I think AnimeCons TV needs to do another PSA.
Yeah. And so I've got the entire masquerade up there, and you can watch all the walk-ons in just a couple minutes, and then skip forward when you get bored of the skits. Cause
That's kind of like conventions like 10 years ago. That was the norm.
Mm.
yeah, but I was surprised, except for the one that won, which was short and sweet. All the others, it's like, oh, okay, we get it, go.
Hopefully people will learn from that.
Yeah. So favorite costume of 2014 of yours, Elizabeth? You did a bunch of costumes.
I actually did not as many as I usually do this year. I think I only did like 10. But anyway,
Oh my god.
Only 10. Only 10.
as opposed to when I usually do like 18 or something. No, my favorite, I finally did Ferris from Final Fantasy V, and it's been on my list since I started cosplaying, and I finally did it. And there's still some stuff I want to fix for it, but I'm so excited I finally did that. And Shiva and I someday still have to wear Ferris and whatever her sister's name is.
Rena?
Yeah.
Whatever that character
There's
is.
so many like versions of her name, but because of the translations. But yeah, we're gotta rewear it again at some point. And I was so excited to finally get that done. No one recognizes it, but that's okay. I love it.
And, Shiva, how about you?
I finally did Madoka, which is so overdone, but I love how it came out, and it was really challenging to do. So that was my favorite costume. But my favorite prop was, I don't usually make my own props because Sketch is such a good prop maker. I just make him do it. But I made my own this year. I made Ooga Booga from Crash Bandicoot all by myself, and he makes me so happy. So this is like my favorite thing I made all year.
Rob?
Well, I didn't make any new costumes this year, but I did do a lot of prop making.
Sorry.
But what I liked was I was adding and adding to my Gryffindor, and I finally made a pretty decent Gryffindor sword. This one, I actually, what I did is I sculpted out the handle in clay and made a mold, and then I can pour these out now and just mass produce them if I wanted to. But yeah, that was my favorite part this year.
And Doug?
Well, to once again bring up Guardians of the Galaxy.
No!
After the movie came out, everybody was telling me I needed to do Star-Lord, and I'm like, I'm not going to wear or pay for that gigantic red leather jacket. But then I got the idea of, those prison outfits are pretty easy to make. And so I just got some yellow scrubs, and I made a prosthetic leg to be carrying around, so it was also a fun prop. And I got so many double takes wearing it at Dragon Con with the, it's the leg! And it was a very simple costume to make, but I had so much fun wearing it. It was super comfortable, too. And that's sometimes really important when you're going to be wearing a costume for a long time.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody else with the leg.
I saw one that put mine to shame, and I quickly hid mine. But there weren't a lot. I was surprised. For such a simple costume, not a lot of people did it.
Well, my favorite costume was my only new costume, and that was Booker DeWitt from BioShock Infinite. And thank you to Elizabeth for making that for me.
You're welcome.
And I didn't know we were talking props, but obviously I have a favorite prop. Which, yeah.
Well, I didn't have costumes, so to go with props.
Booker's Skyhook. That's my favorite prop. No, favorite guest of 2014? Obviously mine was James Gunn. Doug, was yours also James Gunn?
No, because I left that party like 5 minutes before you met him. Mine was my favorite was had to be Fred Schott at Otakon Vegas. He's such a neat guy. He's been an anime fan before there was really even anime fans in America, and so soft-spoken and just really interesting to talk about his personal experiences with fandom and everything like that, and just super friendly. Like I interviewed him for the podcast, and I could have easily talked with the guy for 10 more hours just about whatever, and he was so neat, and I'm glad I finally got to meet him at a convention. He's kind of been someone I've always wanted to get to, but for whatever reason, because he's on the West Coast, it was really hard. And when he did come east, it wasn't a con I was attending.
Elizabeth?
I met Gail Simone at Boston Comic Con, which I would have been a slightly better experience for me if I didn't clam up like a major fangirl. But she complimented me on my I was wearing Lady Blackhawk because I love Birds of Prey, and got her to sign a bunch of my comics, and oh my god, she's so nice. That was awesome.
And Rob, how about you?
My favorite guest was Patrick's baby Groot. Because honest to God, walking around DragonCon, not only could you find him because not only the mask, but also Patrick's so tall and he had it on top of his head, but it was treated like a celebrity, so it counts as a guest.
Hey girlfriend, I'm ready to dance. This is why you're moving and grooving.
Moving and grooving.
The thing's mesmerizing.
I know.
Well, my favorite guest is kind of...
Turn it off!
It's kind of obvious. I mean, I've been to Patrick Stewart's panels before when he came to DragonCon, but this is the first time I actually met him and got his autograph, which completed my Star Trek Next Generation poster, and I told him I saved the best for last, and he thought that was pretty funny. So, I don't know, he's an amazing guy. He's really nice, and it was incredibly exciting to actually meet him and shake his hand and, try not to hurt him because he's a very old man at this point. But I had a lot of fun meeting him.
Was his panel also your favorite panel or event?
I didn't say that was my favorite event, but I did love it a lot.
That was mine.
I must say, I did enjoy his panel a lot more this year than I did when I went before.
Well, the reason why I like the panel, because this will be my favorite panel.
Your favorite panel, yeah.
It's just because no one asked him any Star Trek questions.
They asked him amazing
They
questions.
asked him questions about why did he put a pause in a classic Shakespearean play. They asked him what was his thought process. It was all this stuff that you oh yes, he is an actor. It was really cool. They also talked about stuff like Excalibur. Not many people in general know that he was in that movie. And
well,
it
I
was
think
just
what's
fun.
cool too is he was on point with it. People asked him about Excalibur and other things that he did even before Star Trek. He remembered all of it. He remembered the dates. He could answer questions. He was we went to a panel with him a few years ago, and he wasn't quite on top of it, which is understandable. He's an older guy, and this happened a long time ago. But he was all over everything everybody asked him this time, and that was kind of fun too.
And there was one funny moment though. He kept on talking about his good friend Ian, and he says, "I am trying to get him to come to one of these." And I just screamed from the back of the room, "Make it so!" But no, it was a really good panel, and it brought us a new sight because he also went into about charity work, and charities, talked about his ice bucket challenge, and then also other charities we should look into. So it was a really good panel.
What I did put for my favorite event was Anime Unscripted at PortCon.
Yay! Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't done it in a while, and it was a lot of fun, and I thought it went well, and we had a blast doing it. So
She didn't drop an F-bomb this time.
no.
Yeah, out here,
Get ready for the bleep.
out here in the Bay Area, there's a group that does a thing called Fully Unscripted, which is improv. So,
Yeah, get your lawyers on that.
Elizabeth, what about you? What was your favorite panel or event?
My favorite panel slash event, actually didn't go to. It was the Sailor Moon panel at Anime Central where they announced that they got. I know it was the Viz panel at Anime Central where they announced that they got Sailor Moon, which I actually rewatched. I wasn't watching it. I think they streamed it, but I'm like, whatever. I'm not gonna watch some panel at Anime Central. But I watched it, and it's like, oh my god, the reaction from the crowd when they announced that they got Sailor Moon was awesome. I guess that's kind of a cop-out because I wasn't there, but so my favorite, ConnectCon's Masquerade was really good this year. Really good. Like, if you can find a video of the skit that won Best in Show, like, you need to see it because it was great. They did all the entries, most of the entries, did a really good job. It was a really great show to watch.
Wow, cool. And Doug?
For mine, I was going to say it's a very small one, but the anime biology panel at Otakon this year, I mentioned this in my report about it, this was a teacher who kind of, looked at some of the stuff that happens in anime, some of the more ridiculous things like, could you bleed that much and actually survive? Or, what would happen like with like cybernetic limbs? And he took like kind of a Mythbusters approach of, is this busted or plausible? Why or why not? Like, and he went from everything from hair colors to, bodily injury, and they put him in a smaller room, but he's a teacher and a fan himself, so he could keep that audience interested. And the room was packed from start to end. And I really hope this guy does more stuff because this was such an interesting panel and such a different thing than what, like, another generic ask a so-and-so cosplayer thing. It was something different and something really refreshing, so I really like that one this year.
Cool. And mine, I bet you could guess. It was the James Gunn panel at DragonCon. So it was James and Sean Gunn doing Q&A. And they revealed a lot of the insight in what went into making the film. And they even revealed that one of the little teasers they had planned to put in was to have Stan Lee in the collector's collection.
Yep.
Behind glass, and then he would just flip off the collector, but they decided not to do that. And but yeah, a lot of cool stuff talking about behind the scenes. So one of our little fun things we like to do every year is the Better Luck Next Year Award, which is an optional thing that we can award to someone or something that didn't quite go according to plan. And I suspect my nominee is also a same nominee as a lot of other people in that DashCon. If ever there was a convention to fail and fail hard, it's DashCon.
Hey, now we have an example of what not to do. Completely.
Yeah. But
you have countless examples.
Yeah, there are conventions that fail because, one thing fails. DashCon didn't seem to really do anything right. I mean, it's notorious now for the ball pit, and it's become a meme, but everything that they did, it's like, wait, why? What? It was a disaster. Now, that's not that it's the only con that failed this year, but it certainly got the most attention. And they were going to rename it to Emoticon because DashCon's already tasted, and they were going to run it again in a convention center, but they just recently canceled it. And that's for the best.
Yes. I'll also mention mine. It's one I didn't go to. It's one I almost went to, but mine is Rhode Island Comic Con. The con that does not understand that there is no turnover at conventions. People stay and they go get food and then they come back. It's not like a bridal show where people go for a couple hours and then they go home. They stay all day. And for those that don't know what happened, they had the fire marshal came and they were at capacity. They were still selling tickets and people who left to go to the Connected Mall couldn't come back in to go to the convention they paid for, and it was a disaster. There was people having trouble finding parking, which I guess isn't exactly the con's fault, but they were just way too big for their britches and totally just. So I heard that actually, I think this is confirmed, they're going to be in the arena as well next year, which will hopefully help, but oh man, they said that this happens at cons all the time. No, it doesn't. This is not like, what was the one at PAC that was downstairs from it?
They had a hot tub convention.
Yeah.
We went to the hot tub convention.
So you go, and that's a trade show. That's not a convention. I don't know what they were thinking. So I hope they do better next year, because I went last year and I had fun and it was a good time. But
2013 Rhode Island Comic Con was a blast, and I did get to that con, and there's a lot of really fun people there. It's a really good show. It just needs better management, and I don't know if it's just they were just looking at the ticket sales and saw dollar signs, but I want to see that con succeed, because I think there's a proven market there, and so many times you hear negative stuff at cons, whereas the attendee population was one of the best I've ever seen.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they react to it, because I know immediately they had a very poor reaction to trying to cope with the problem. They were denying it was happening. There was a lot of stuff that people's complaints were being dismissed. So it'll be really interesting to see if they get their act together and take it seriously and make some big changes next year.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, that was my runner-up for better luck next year. Mine is actually going to be the Anime Expo. I finally made it out to that. It was kind of a convention bucket list to finally go see this con, and I honestly have to say I was pretty disappointed. There were times that I was in line with a press badge and people had the VIP badges that were supposed to be there to get them into rooms early and stuff like that, and they're letting everyone in, press, VIPs, you name it, all at once, and it's like something really important in this exhibit hall on the other side, and there's like a mad stampede, and it just really disappointed me that I've gone to so many other cons where even if it's big, I have too many things to do, and this was just disappointment after disappointment. So I don't really have a high priority of that con, and I don't think I will be back anytime soon.
My better luck next year was actually the KatsuCon staff. I talked a lot about it when we originally reviewed KatsuCon, but it was really disappointing. From getting badges to, asking to the location of a room, to it's very basic stuff. We got nothing but misinformation, snarkiness, rudeness. I mean, incredible, lots of uncalled for stuff. I mean, it wasn't just being untrained or not knowing the answer, just people being complete jerks, really. And it's a shame because the attendees were super nice there.
Oh no, the people attending were amazing.
So, and they were even, when I was in the badge room, trying to get people to volunteer to be KatsuCon staff for the convention currently running. So it wasn't for next year, which I thought was wicked weird. So yeah, that needs a complete overhaul. That was terrible.
I would probably say the public health service of our nation's capital. Because seriously, how the hell did that happen?
I don't know if that was their fault.
I don't know if it's their fault, but come on. The year before that, you were sick. Last year, we both got sick. We've been trying to actually see our nation's capital, and one of us too ill to go in the cold weather.
I think it's because it's February.
I don't know.
Flu shots next year. Everybody flu shots.
Well, how about favorite convention of 2014? If you had to pick one, who would you pick? Rob?
Mine also because limited, but actually was Anime Boston. We took the previous year off getting ready for the wedding, and but when we came back, we noticed big changes in the convention in terms of how they run stuff. They were having a bit of a congestion problem going through security because of events. that happened in Boston that year. But I mean, in terms of like their programming and the staff running everything, it was like, oh yeah, this is a fun convention. I remember this now. It was very nice coming back.
Yeah, AB was mine too this year, and I think it's because, I mean, we've gone for so long since our local convention, and, you know, a lot of times we've given them a lot of crap when, you know, things didn't go well, or sometimes it felt like they were just kind of going through the motions. But this year, for whatever reason, it was kind of a refreshing experience to go again and kind of rediscover our hometown convention, and the staff was incredibly friendly, incredibly knowledgeable. I mean, we just had a lot of good experiences there this year.
Cool.
So any of you two who are actually on staff, just keep your
Good
mouth
job.
shut about anything that
Good
did
job.
go wrong.
Yay!
I have
Don't
a story
pop
of
my bubble.
something. I have a story of something that went wrong, but it's not fit for podcast.
Tell
It
us
did
after.
affect me. It's all right.
Tell us after.
Yep, I will.
Doug, now what did you pick? You can't pick Anime Boston because you're on staff. So.
Yep. Mine actually, my favorite convention, and it even surprised me when I was thinking about it, Otakon Vegas.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Wait. Collectively,
Is that a bad
What?
year?
Yeah, it's got a good idea. I want to see that expand. I think it's just one of the things that really hurt it was timing, and it, you know, being right after New Year's and right after the holidays made it hard, and it's not an easy trip to make. I mean, it was, you know, I guess good, you know, what you'd expect for a price of flying out to Vegas, but there was some good stuff. I think if they learn from their mistakes, the con could be really good. I mean, I mentioned talking to Fred Schott. That was good. They really, as a panelist, I was really treated well. They wanted to get more programming, and they want to see a way to grow. I don't know if they can do that and get people to keep going every year, but it would be a good con to go to every 3 years or something like that. And if you can add a day either before it or after it, so you actually have a day in Vegas to check out, and you don't feel like you're tied to the con, that's helpful. I mean, they did a discount thing where you got 24-hour pass to do like almost a bunch of different buffets, so you could eat at different places, and it came to like $33 a person. And you could, if you got it had a late dinner to start it off, you could have 4 meals at buffets and, you know, keep yourself well fed on a budget.
Wow.
While at a con in Vegas. So there is potential there, and I would like to see that con succeed. And like I said, I think the way it could do that is if it makes it something that's like every 3 years or something like that.
Elizabeth, what's your favorite?
I feel like I say PAX East every year, and even though that was my favorite, I'm not going to say it this year. Mine was actually PortCon, which I was kind of hesitant about going because it's, you know, I've been going since 2007, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should take a year off, and I had an absolute blast. It's me and my mom's little mini vacation con too, so we did a lot of fun tourist stuff in the city during the day on Saturday, and but I don't know, Shiva and I ran around like total dorks dressed as Officer Jenny and Nurse Joy, and I freaked everybody out wearing Heimerdinger, and they have a really good masquerade show, and it's like almost all walk-ons, and there's some really high quality cosplay there, and I don't know, being able to do their garage sale is awesome because it pretty much pays for the con, and they always have really good panels and events, and it's such a cool little con. I love it, and I already have my hotel room booked for next year. I'll be there, so I can't wait. I had a blast. I don't know. I was like this close not going. I think if Patrick wasn't going to be there, I probably wouldn't have gone, so.
I wouldn't have Pokemon fun times. That was amazing.
Best.
I got so drunk at the bar.
Just one drink at the bar.
it was a strong drink. The guy gave me exactly the same. So I don't get drunk.
We got drinks to match our costumes.
Obviously.
We'll put a little picture in so you can see.
Yeah.
That was great.
Well, my favorite convention of 2014 was my first time at it, and it was Nerdtacular. And when I did the con report, I think I even said it was my favorite convention that I've ever been to, and it was just amazing because everybody was so friendly. It was a small convention, so you've got that feeling that it's just a party with you and a bunch of your friends. And so, yeah, if anybody's a fan of Frog Pants Network's podcasts or anything that Tom Merritt or Brian Brushwood, anything that they do, you have to go to this thing because it was a lot of fun. And it was in Snowbird, Utah, so it's a ski resort in the summer. But
Wait, did you just say a ski resort in the summer?
They have to do something during the summer. It just happens that they're a ski resort.
Yeah, and it was a great place, and it wasn't filled with skiers. It was just a bunch of nerds at Nerdtacular, and it was a lot of fun. But they won't be there next year if the rumors I hear are true, and it won't be on 4th of July weekend, so we'll see. They haven't announced dates yet, but I'd love to go back. And so every year we've been making predictions, and now it's time to look at our predictions we made last year and see how close we got. Doug, you said that there's only going to be one Otakon Vegas after 2014.
And I'm eating my words. Yep. Yeah, that they scheduled it again. I'm still surprised, but I hope this keeps pace with what I was saying in my comments on it, and I want to see this one succeed. So I'm glad to be wrong.
Now, technically, you got it right because you said there's only going to be one Otakon Vegas after 2014. So if this is their last one in 2015, then it's right. So.
Yeah. We'll see.
You said we're going to have more stories from outside the con than inside the con. That's probably right, too.
If you look at my pictures from it, that's definitely true. Hitting Old Vegas Sunday night was where I got a ton of photos.
Yeah, and I saw that Grant Imahara was there, and Chloe Dykstra, and a bunch of other people showed up, and they seem to have more pictures outside the con than at the con.
But isn't it Las Vegas? You're not supposed to... What happens stays there?
Huh. Right. Elizabeth, you said a big-name anime con will become an all-genre con.
Nope.
Yeah, not really.
Not really.
But there are a lot more all-genre cons popping up.
That is true.
Now, Shiva, you said Sailor Moon revival will happen, and I think that's your prediction for the year before. You're saying it's still going to happen.
Yeah, it still happened.
Boy, were you right
so-
there?
Just a little bit. It happened just a little bit, right?
Can I get the lotto numbers from you?
No, because it hasn't helped me. What?
I said you totally called that one. I mean, at the time we made these predictions, Sailor Moon was not announced.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Well, it's here to stay.
And you also said going to cons will become more mainstream outside of San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep.
And I think that's true, too.
Definitely. It's on, like, advertising now. There was, like, an advertisement the other day where, like, cosplayers were... I don't even know what the ad was for, but they were part of it.
It was a cell phone.
Something, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all
It was
out
like
there now.
different walks of life, and there was a cosplay.
Well, you also hear
Yeah.
the word cosplay,
Yeah.
like, all the time when people are describing costumers, which never used to happen. If you said that word before to people not in the scene, they would have no idea what you're talking about.
And Rob, you said T-shirts will finally go to just having one series instead of crossovers.
I aim to fail.
Well,
Unfortunately, now it's like you can't even.
Now costumes are crossovers.
Yeah, costumes are crossovers. Everything's a crossover.
Yep.
And I admit I am working on one as a crossover.
My T-shirt right now is not a crossover; it's a Christmas thing.
The crossover with Christmas.
No, it's just Christmas. And
Wearing my classic. bad sweater Doctor Who going on here.
So my prediction was that Hunger Games cosplayers will clog the Atlanta Marriott Marquis elevators during photo shoots. There were some cosplayers in the elevators for photo shoots. I know Krista said that she had one scheduled for 4 in the morning.
I believe they canceled it.
Yeah, I don't think they ended up doing that.
She did do it eventually because she did say she saw
Hmm.
it happened. Just not at 4 in the morning.
But yeah, there were definitely Hunger Games cosplayers there. They didn't clog it though. They were just
Yeah.
clogged for other reasons.
That whole hotel was clogged for other
Yes.
reasons.
Now my prediction for next year, I'm going to keep it movie themed, and say that as we get closer to December 2015, we will see a lot more Star Wars cosplayers.
Hmm.
And as we get closer to October 21st, 2015, Back to the Future cosplayers.
I would love to see that one. DeLoreans for everybody.
And Rob, you got a prediction for next year?
Yes, I have a prediction that I'm going to inadvertently challenge Movie Phone Guy to pull some sort of video prank that actually gets him arrested for a night. Okay, not a prediction, a goal.
Shiva, how about you?
My prediction is that Elizabeth and I will finally cosplay superheroes from the 1960s.
Yes! Please!
I guess we get more goals going on here than predictions.
I know. It's only been talked about since we've been friends.
Kind of.
Elizabeth, is that yours as well?
No, I have like an actual prediction. Mine, I mean, I don't want to have a negative one, but mine is you're going to see more attendance issues for Comic-Cons, like Comic-Con specifically, like Rhode Island Comic-Con, because I feel like the anime conventions kind of got it. But as the new ones that are popping up, they're all Comic-Cons, and I think people who are more don't necessarily find themselves in nerd culture, but like nerdy things, would more likely go to a Comic-Con than a anime con. So I think you're going to see some issues with new things popping up and overcrowding, and yeah, some cons will suck because of that, but hopefully not many.
Seems like a pretty safe bet,
I
actually.
mean, having the name Comic Con just makes you.
Cringe.
Doug, what's your prediction?
My prediction is that someone's going to take what DashCon/Emoticon tried to do and actually try and do it right. Is actually going to kind of use that as a marketing tool. If we heard this failed, but we are going to try and make like a Tumblr culture convention.
Oh
And
God, help us all.
But I think someone's actually going to try and do it right. Whether or not they succeed will mean releasing. But I think someone's going to try and do it.
But they tried, remember? A for effort.
All right, and I guess in 12 months we'll see who got theirs right, if anybody. And
Sorry,
best of luck.
Ro.
And
Not really.
so, this is our last episode of 2014, and thanks for a great season 6, everyone. And looking forward to some great episodes in season 7, our 7th year.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, but I did want to mention last year, Gail was on the episode, and she predicted the most popular cosplay of 2014 will be Elsa from Frozen.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Yeah. And but she's been busy with other projects, so she hasn't been able to be on the podcast lately. So if anybody's wondering where she went, she's.
I killed her. No.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
We let her go.
And there we go. Yeah, okay.
With that, we better let this go. And anybody got anything that they want to plug before we sign off for the year?
No.
Nope.
Watch old
Keep
episodes.
sending us fun